Okay, so we continue on. V'nimsa get bottle u'beneya mamzerim. So this is the case of the perutzis. So that the get is bottle and her children are mamzerim. Now the Gemara continues. Ikamidi the midiraisa law have a get. So we have a big problem here. Is that the deraisa, he said, if I come in 30 days, the get's going to be bottled, and he was oinus getting there, and he didn't turn up. So therefore, midiraisa, it wasn't a get. Umishum tznius, umishum prutzis, sharina neishas ish la'alma. Now, firstly, there's a bit of an issue with the Gemara, with the lotion of the Gemara here, because is that true that tznius and prutzis? We said by the tzinuas is the zimnin de lo anis for have get, and it's by the tzinuas, it's by the prutzis where it isn't a get, and then the Rabonim the Raisa it's no get, and the Rabonim say that it is a get. So therefore here their children nimsa so she'll get married, and the get's bottle, and the children are mamzer. So by the Rabbanon coming in here, they mevatel the get, and then the children aren't mamzerim. So is there something that's the raisa? It's not a get. Mishum tznias and mishum prutzis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the raisa is not a get, and the Rabbanon made it a get. But that's for the prutz. That's for the prutzis. It's not for the tznuas.
Right.
The whole point of the tznuas is that the raisa lo have get. That's what they're choishish for. That's the whole point of the tznuas. That, as Rashi says, it's a get, and the tznuas dilma anis, and therefore it comes out that the tznuas they don't need the Rabbanon to mevatel the get, but the fact that the Rabbanon stepped in and said, well, if there is any issue, then we will mevatel the get. So then then it works for the tznuas. It'll allow them to not be choishish for stuff. So either the whole takana is the takana for tznuas and prutzis, and therefore we add it here, or you say that the whole point, in achinami, that the prutzis are relying on it being a good get, even though the rice is not a good get, and the Rabbanon come in and they mevatel it. But the tzinuas get married because the Rabbanon told them it's not a good. The Rabbanon told them it's not a good. The Rabbanon told them it's a good get.
Right.
See, so they're not choishish. So it is a get, but their choishish is not a get. So therefore, the choishish is not a get deraisa, and then the Rabbanon come and they mevatel the get. So it'll also help the tzinuas in a chashash. We have to see, and there's a Taisus later. Rashi, the Miraisa have a get. Shematzinu tainus einus minatayr shenemar v'lenaira lo tasadavar. So this is the key Rashi we saw that kicked off the whole kind of business till before. Kol Mekadesh. So Miraisa lo have a gita umishum tzinus umishum b'ritzis ruinin neshasish la'ama. Ain, we say yes, this is true. The Mekadesh or Daat the Rabonim Mekadesh. So is that it, or is this also part of Afeka'inהו Rabonim Lekadoshin Miniya? Are these two separate points, or it's the same point? Everybody who Mekadeshes does it on the das of the Rabonim, and the Rabonim paka the Kedushin from him. Is this 2 points or it's 1 point? We don't know. So anyway, Kol Mekadesh Daat Rabonim Mekadesh. Rashi Kol Mekadesh Isha al das shehanhagu Chachmei Yisrael v'Yisrael. So it's anyone who Mekadesh is a woman. It's on the condition. It's on the das that they have the hanhaga, that the Chachmei Yisrael in Israel. Who Mekadesh. So he's doing it, his das is not important. What my das is, what my intention in this kedushin is not important. because I am giving over my das to the Chachmei Yisrael. So it's al das shenhal hagu Chachmei Yisrael. No, it's not on my das, it's on their das. Shiyu kaimin kedushin lefi divrei chachamim, so that the kedushin will be established, will keep going. It's kaimim according to the chachamim. So this is like it's going at this time, and then it was batul lefi divrei chachamim al yedei gitin shehakshiru chachamim. So up to this point, seemingly, how would you understand this? Vayu betelim, that the kedushin is batul according to the words of the chachamim. So seemingly here Rashi is learning that the kedushin is batul l'mafreya, yeah, according to the words of the chachamim. Because when I Mekadesh, the time zero. So we'll keep the case that he Mekadesh is at, let's say, the year 2000, and he gives a get in the year 2020. So he married for 20 years. So if you mavatal the kedushin, so therefore we go back to the year 2000 and they were never married. It was 20 years of sin. So the kedushin was on al das of Rabonim, and they got rid of the kedushin lemafreya. Yeah, is that all good? Anyone disagree with that reading of Rashi?
I disagree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that you would know that until Kaddish would be at mine.
No, here, so Shukaimim Kedushin Lefi, the whole Kedushin keeps on going according to the words of the Chachamim, and they are bottled according to the words of the Chachamim. So the Chachamim have the ability. Yeah, but the Chachamim have the ability to mevatel the Kedushin. So the Kedushin is what happened at time zero. In the year 2000, that's when they had the Kedushin. And that's it.
But maybe they could be mevateling it now. It doesn't mean that they're doing it lima freya.
But how can they?
You couldn't mevatel it now, though. No. But you can't mevatel it now, right? Because at this point, it's established. The only way that this actually makes sense is if they're mevateling it lima freya.
When I Mekadesh the woman at time zero in the year 2000, I did the Kedushin on the das of the Chachamim, and therefore the Chachamim bottled the Kedushin. If the Chachamim bottled the Kedushin, and you say they let's say they mevatel it in 2020. So what was I doing for the past 20 years? Was I living in a state of kedushin with my wife, or I was living with a harlot?
Right.
So I'm just saying the pashas words we can get into. I'm not looking to get into the lumdas. I'm just get into the pashas, the words of Rashi at this point. So I do the kedushin, and then mevatel the kedushin pashtas. And you see the pashtas is that you go back to T0 and there is no kedushin anymore.
Right. And
now,
so according to Rashi, like
no, it's not according to Rashi. According to how I'm reading Rashi at this point.
Sure. According to how we're reading Rashi at this point, the woman would also not be treated like a Gerusha. She would just be a woman who's never been married.
Bad eye.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, but you could still say that. Okay. So,
now, if what I'm saying is true, then these next words of Rashi are completely extra. They're completely superfluous. Al yedei gitin shechachshero chachamim, through the gitin that the chachamim were machshir. So what the hell's going on here? I don't need this extra line. If all we're doing is mevatling the kedushin, and even if you want to say that the get, the Rabonim are mevatling the kedushin because you gave the get, but it's aldas. The whole kedushin was aldas the chachamim. What do I need the get for bechal? The whole point is when I Mekadesh, I'm Mekadesh al das the Chachamim, and now I don't want the get anymore, or whatever, the Chachamim are mevatel. Rashi says batel. They're bottle the Kedushin, and therefore, like, I don't even get what I need to get for.
It was never a Deoraisa marriage in the first place. That's the thing, is so.
Well, I don't know if you're cheating, using the notes at the end or whatever, but
I'm not.
There's so this bottle lefi divrei chachamim. If that's all that Rashi said, I would just say that Pashas would be Rashi's going lemafreya. Al yedei gitin shechachshero chachamim seems to be saying that the get I give today is bottling the kedushin, or is ending the marriage here. So the fact that I'm giving the get seems to be some type of mikan ulahaba. So this Rashi doesn't really flow so nicely, I would just say. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Toisus, adaited the Rabonim Mekadesh, Lechein oimrim b'shas kedushin kedas Moshe v'Yisrael. So says Toisus, therefore we say when you are the kedushin, Hareis Mekadesh li kedas Moshe v'Yisrael. Now the pashtus of this Toisus is if I don't say kedas Moshe v'Yisrael, the Gemara says I mekadesh a woman kedas the chachamim. Rashi says like I toile my das. It's nothing to do. I don't look again. We were looking at Nadarim and we were looking at Gittin and we were saying it's on the das of the person making the neder. What's his das as to how the neder will chal or to how the Gittin will play would be all on my das. And Rashi's saying that the kedushin has nothing to do with my das. Whatever my das of the kedushin is, I put it on the chachamim. So Tosis says, well, that's why you say Kedash Moshe Yisrael. And what if I didn't say it? So Ritva called the Mekadesh Daat the Rabonim Mekadesh. Perish Afal P. Hu Bekesfã Yad Mishut Shitta Mikubetz Va'ayin Toisvis Adaita B'Tzarachin. She'omer lakedas Moshe v'Yisrael harehu ke'ilu hisna ima almana she'yirtzu chachamim v'stamo kepirshu. Shehem devarim shebelibo belibo kol adam shehem devarim k'mafarshim mesechah kedushin. So he's discussing the point here as to what happens if you don't actually speak it out. It's like you made a tanai with her that it's on condition that the chachamim will want, and stam. So stamu, even if he doesn't say anything, kapirshu, as if he explained it. So even if he doesn't say it, the stam is like he explained it out. Shehem devarim shebelibo ubelev kol adam, and it's the heart. So they're the things in his heart. In the heart, all adam, they are devarim as they are spoken out. So we have there's issues in a kedushin where you when you're Mekadesh in a woman and you are discussing the marriage and then you give her money. So then the idea that you're discussing will then come out in the kedushin. That's it's the varm shabalev come out. So the Ritva is a little bit hidden there. So this is the Sukkot David. We've seen him before. So the B'Gemara Kol Mekadesh adaited the Rabonim Mekadesh Kaseva Toises Lechein Amrinim b'Shas Kedushin Kedas Moshe Yisrael Chor HaKavana Shelo Yuchal Loimer Achar Kach Shelo Kidesh adaited the Rabonim Shelo Kidesh. I didn't. You can't say afterwards that I didn't Mekadesh adaited the Rabonim. The Kevin the Amar Kedas Moshe Yisrael. So therefore, once I said the words, even afilu im chishav lehepech, even if I thought the opposite, and I'm like, I'm not marrying you. Kedash, I'm marrying on my own das with all these things, and I don't care about these ideas of the chachamim. Havezet devarim shebelei ve'ena devarim, because you're going against what you said befeirush. V'ayim beritva shekadav v'stamo kepirshu. So stam, if you didn't say anything, so you didn't say Kedash Moshe Yisrael, it's like you said it right. Shem devarim shem belibo b'leiv kol adam ayin kan. So the whole thing that what the Ritva is talking about is when you didn't say it. That's like you said it. Here, what the Sukkot David is saying is that when you say Kedash Moshe Yisrael, even if you have thoughts lehepech, then it doesn't matter because you spoke out. So if you speak out Kedas Chachamim and you're thinking, I don't want the Das Chachamim, it doesn't matter because you spoke it out. The Ritva is where you say Hirei as Mekadesh li b'taba zut, and she takes the taba. There. The Ritva is Stamo Kepirshu. Mishom Shehem Belibo Ubelev Kol Adam, because they're in the heart. Ve'im Kain Ein Kan Chesron Shel Devarim Shebelev Enim Devarim. So since everyone has it, therefore we don't have that Chesron. Ve'im Yamar Beferu She'enu Mekadesh Al Datam. So what happens if you say Hareis Mikudeshes Li Lo Kedas Moshe Yisrael? So then what's the din? As Yesh Loimer De Hekviu Chachamim Makadushin. So then we're saying that it never chal. So I say to the woman, Hareis Mekadesh li, Shelo Akadesh K'Moshe Yisrael, and she says yes, and she takes the ring, and she agrees to my kedushin. So again, this is a bit of a chiddush, but Yesh Lamer that they removed the kedushin. The kedushin never called me dinin de yechulin oiker b'sheva al taseh. So there, that since the chachamim are able to oiker something deraisa misheva al taseh, which we'll get to, so therefore everybody has to do it al das chachamim, whether you say it, whether you don't say it, and even in the case where you say I don't want to do it al pi chachamim, it's still so there it just doesn't work. But if you want the kedushin to work, then the kedushin has to be al das, or you say it's tam. So that's like a Pirush of Tosfos. But the Pashas of Tosfos, it's a bit unclear. Tosfos seems to be saying, therefore we say it. Well, do I have to say it? Well, if I don't say it, so the Ritzvah says even if you don't say it, and the Sukkot David is adding that even if you say beferush, I don't want it like that. The kedushin is never chal because they be pocketed for the sheva al tasa. So that's going on the Tosfos. So oimer lechein oimrim, but even so, we don't have to. So now we have a bit of an issue here because the Gemara then afeka'inהו Rabonim kedusha minei seems to be a second step, no? Because if the thing is all come kasha Daat to the Rabonim, so afeka'inhu Rabonim kedusha but bereish hashalech perashti. So did you look at Tosfos in English?
I did.
No. Well, you could go to Hashuleach to see the parish of this Pekah. Now, see over there, the Tosfos is saying that it's Freya, but we'll get into that again now. Now, afeka'inהו Rabonim לקדושין says Rashi כשיבא get כזה אחריהם. So when this get then comes afterwards, so this is like a second step. According to Rashi, because here Rashi is talking about bottle. It's bottle, and it's seemingly that when the get comes today, that's when it ends. V'afkua, when are the Rabonim poka the kedushin when you get the get? So seemingly, when the get comes, that's when the kedushin is poka. Again, it's not mukhrach to learn that way, and you can start doing gymnastics. As I'm saying, the pashtus of Rashi here is just saying that because if you get kazeh achreihem, then that's when it's afkua. That's when they remove the kedushin. So Tosfos, Rashi's a little bit difficult here because he seems to be bottle, and that he seems to be the get, and we'll see in Tinach that it gets more complicated. Amar le Ravina le Ravashi Tinach Kedish Bekasa Kedish Babia Ma'ik le Meimor. So this question of the Gemara is a bit bizarre. What's good? What's good Tinach Bekasa? Why is it good that it's Kedish Bekasa? And then what's the problem with Kedish Babia? I don't understand what the question of the Gemara is. Ravina Ravashi, that's so good with Kiddush Kabasa. What's good with Kesef? And then Kiddush Bia, well, we got a whole huge problem with Kiddush Bia. Like, what's the problem here? Rashi, Tinach, Lemeimor. It's okay to say that they were Poka Kashikadosh Bekaspa. So we say that they were Pokea, that they were removing the Kedushin. To name a Getze, Oiker, HaKedushin, V'oise Mos, Matana Miyikaran. So when you say that the Kiddush Bekaspa, then you say that the get is oiker. The get's oiker the kedushin. Again, the get's oiker the kedushin, or the Rabbanon are oiker the kedushin. It's a strange notion here. V'oise mos matanas miyakaran. So that the get makes the money matana miyakaran. Now that we'll see in Tosfos that's a hefker based in hefker. But how does this help anything that the mos is becoming a matana? Matana how? From who to who? What the based in? And what's hefker based in hefker? He doesn't say that. We'll have to see that in Tosfos. Kiddush would be a my afkita miyikara ika. How can you be poka originally? Bishlei ma al yidei get kosher afol p. So if it's a get kosher, so then why are we trying to be poka the kedushin? What does this mean? Bishlei ma al yidei get kosher. What's good al yidei get kosher? If it's a get kosher, I don't need to be poka anything. Afal pisha hakadushin kaimim ad achshav. So you have the get kosher, and then the kedushin is good until now. Gezeres hakosav hi shehaget korusu. So there you have the get ends the marriage now. That's the Torah is telling you that. There's no svara to say that. Umatir isurun mikanu laba. And therefore you're matir any isur from now on. Aval zeh she'enu get min a Torah. This is that. It's the Rabonim are doing it. Viata makshiro, and you're coming to makshiro from when? Seemingly limafreya mi be daitos ol zeh shehekidush al das chachamim. V'shebotlu al pi chachamim tzarach ata oimer shemi karan lo yiyeh kedushin. So originally it was never kedushin. So the get kosher is cutting from mikan la'aba. This get seemingly has to go back mi'ikara. The mi'ikara was never kedushin. If kaddish b'bia v'ata oiker kedushin, if he kaddish b'bia and you're oiker the kedushin lemafreya, so there Rashi saying lemafreya, and he's not mikan la'aba. Matiyah bia so, what will be on his bia? Now I've seen a question on this in Rashi. I don't really like it, but I'll just put the question out there. Why does Rashi say his single bia? How long does this guy be married for? Again, let's say 20 years.
Right.
How many times did he have bia?
Right.
Because the first bia is the kiddushin. That's how he's making it.
Yeah,
Right,
but
well, it's a question of
but okay, but what will be on the bia? What's the problem? He had bia with a random zayna. What's the problem? There's no kedushin, so you have bia's nus. Bia's nus is a big isser. So you have the bia's nus on the first bia. Okay, what's the problem?
So undo the action with the.
No, what's the action? No, you're not undoing any action. We're saying that bia you had then, you thought it was for kedushin. It wasn't for kedushin. It was just a bia's nus.
Can't do bia. How can the chachamim cause a person to do an affair? Cause a person to do a bia.
Okay. So now you're saying that the whole thing is how can he cause him to do an affair? So why does it say bia soy? Why is it just the one bia? I've got no problem with the kedushin bia becoming a non-kedushin bia. That's not a problem. The problem is if I do that, it becomes an isser. So what about all the other bias after every Friday night for 20 years?
Right. But that wasn't the goren of the kiddushin.
So
that's on him. That's not the Rabbanan.
No, because for 20 years he had kedushin, and God and the Chachamim agreed. One day, 20 years later, he gave a guess, and then the Chachamim made all his 20 years of bias nus. Rashi's only worried about his first bia. Now, this is a general issue we have. If you say, now again, the Pashtus, for sure the Pashtus says it's all Limafreya, and everyone you speak to, and they go whatever, go to the mirror, and they'll tell you it's Limafreya. But there are Rishonim that learn that it's a Mikan Ulaba. Mikan Ulaba, the issue.
They learned that specifically that it's Rashi's position. That Rashi is saying.
No. I don't want to put a name on it. We'll see that the Shita brings it as in an unknown. And we'll see it later. But whatever. Just there's a Shita that says it's Mikan Ulaba. If it's Limafreya, we have a big problem with Limafreya. I mean, the Limafreya works technically beautifully. 20 years ago, that act in which you gave the kesef, or you had the bia, which worked. Your kavana was kedushin, but it wasn't kedushin. It was a matana, or it was again. We'll get into technically, but technically, we just go back 20 years, and that act you did, that's fine. Technically, it works brilliantly. And then, but Mekanu Laba, Rashi, it says like, well, the Gezeres HaKosav tells you that a guy kosher cuts it today and goes forward. So technically, it doesn't make any sense. But the Gezeres HaKosav, Torah tells you to do that. Therefore, the Rabbanan can't financially engineer a get. Right? Because that's what Rashi's saying there. That it's that the Gezeres HaKosav says, you're living as married for 20 years. And then and it tells you give a get, you're done. Now, and forward, it's a whole different relationship. But the Chachamim can't engineer that. So, when you have a Mikanu Laba, technically, what the hell's going on there? How the hell did that work? How did the Rabonim make a Mikanu Laba? But Mikanu Laba has a big benefit because if you just mevatel the kedushin all the time, then you're just introducing all these isurim. So now the pashtus of the Gemara would be, and again, this is what Max is pointing out. He's saying that the big problem is you're making it a biyaznus. So therefore, tinach kiddush bekaspa, that's fine with when you have the kesef. By giving the kesef, it's not an isser. The Rabbanon aren't creating an isser in the giving of the kesef. Right, so just have a look at bringing the toises. Tinach kiddush bekaspa, the hefker based in have a hefker, have a mos matana. Now, how does ma kesher between hefker based and hefker and mos matana? How do those two things come together?
What their koach is making it.
Why don't they just say that? Well, I was Mekadesh al das Rabonim, and therefore my das was to give you this money for Ketuvot, but the Rabonim said it's a present. What do they hefker based and hefker for?
That's not what I'm afraid.
That doesn't matter. The pashtus is that hefker based and hefker is that I'm giving my money to the woman. Based in come in and they mafkir my money, and now it's not my money that I'm giving her. Since it's not my money that I'm giving her, then I can't mekadesh her because I never gave her kesef. So the base can have to hefker my kesef. Now I give her money. It's like hefker. I'm giving her hefker money as a matana. So therefore, I never gave her my money because the base hefkered my money. So therefore, there's no kedushin kesef. But here, there's no isser. There's no isser here. So then kiddush bekaspa, kiddush bebia, ma'ik lamemor, because the Rabbanon are causing an isser through their acts. By them being oiker, they're causing an isser. But then why does Rashi say a biyaso? Because you'll have the biyaso, all the kedusha, every. It's going to be now. Let's have a look at Toisus. Umemela korbalia sovznos. See, he's got it in the plural there. It's got the tes yod. That's got the extra yod there. Because Toisus is a big machlokes with Rashi. So the balia sov is in the plural. So Toisus is saying when you mavatel the kesef mamela korbalia sovznos. So therefore all the balia sovznos kiddush b'bia ma'ikla meimor. So if you're talking about the bia, what can we say? Yipako bia shel kedushin. How can we be paka the bia shel kedushin? So again, we'll see. Toisus isn't saying like what the problem is here, but we'll see in the hemshech of the Toisus what the problem is. Afilu laman demor ba'isha rabba yesh kayach lechachamim leoiker davar min haTorah. So everybody agrees, and this was coming out in Isha Rabbah, everybody agrees, B'shev v'altaseh, that there is koyach l'chachamim la'oikir davar min haTorah. Right, so just clearly that Toisus Amela kol bilos of zenos means that it's lemafreya. It's clear in Toisus he's learning lemafreya because all the bilos of zenos, because it's not, if it's mikanu ba, then all his bilos of were not zenos. Since it's lemafreya, all his bias are zunus. That's clear in Toisus he's learning lemafreya. Now yesh koyach b'sheva al tasa, so you can oiker davar min haTorah. Hayinu kagon deleka avera. That's all when there's no avera. Kash hahi da haisha rabba the hadar letivla. So sorry, ufilu man damor. So therefore everyone agrees with sheva al tasa. There's even a man damor in Isha Rabba that there's yesh koach lechachamim loiker davar min haTorah bekum va'ase. That's where there's like a avera. That's where there's no avera. So Toisus' whole question, the way that Toisus is learning the question in the Gemara, is that the chachamim are only able to come va'ase and vatal deraisa where there is no avera that comes out directly out of that action. Why do I say directly? Because Isha Rabba the harder letivla. So what's the case over there, where he was mafresh tevel he had two piles of tevel. One is tahor and one's tame, and he's mafresh from the tame on the tahor. So now he has truma tame instead of truma tahor. So therefore, he's going to give it to the Kohen, and the Rabonim answered that. Since the Rabonim answered that, they had the power to turn the truma back to tevel. And Tosfos says leika aser. Seemingly, that's a bit of a strange Tosfos, because there is an iser when he turns back the tevel into. So now he's got truma in this tevel. It's truma deraisa, and the Rabonim are bringing it back into tevel. So now he will keep that as tevel. He'll get the tahor. He'll either take it from itself, or he'll take tahor and tahor tevel and make that chulin. So you have truma deraisa that's now chulin, and people will eat it. So how can he say? And it's also for everyone to eat. So it's the truma tame you you burn it. So, there's still going to be an Aveira, but it doesn't go directly. Directly, when the Chachamim did it, there's no Aveira. It's only it'll come out as a groma. They don't goyrim the Aveira through the Takanas itself. Something else can happen. He can do whatever he wants with this room. He doesn't have to do an Aveira. After the Kiddush Bekesef, he doesn't have to do a bia. So it will come to having a bia's nus, but they didn't cause a bia's nus. So when they directly turn a mitzvah, because again here he has a mitzvah of the bia's kedushin, and the chachamim are turning that mitzvah into a vera. There the chachamim don't have the power to do that. That's the havamina of Tosfos in the Gemara. Vera directly from the act, the Mekadesh, he bebia ma'ikla meimor. What is there to say? Because the Rabonim in the Sheva Alta and the Kumva Asay don't have the ability to turn it into an Avera. Umushani Shavi Rabbana Bidas Binizuz for Inkan Kedushin. So what kind of a teretz is this? And why is Tosfos saying this? So we have a look in the Gemara. Binizuz for Ikat Amor Le Ravina Ma'ikla meimor. And the teretz is Shavia Rabbana Labila, so Labila Soy Be'ila Zunos. So again, this is in the singular. It's just that one Be'ila Zunos. Now, so what's the teretz of the Gemara, and what's Tosfos bringing that for? What does Tosfos bring down the Gemara here? Why does he just say what is he saying? What the teretz of the Gemara is? Tosfos is explaining Tinach Kiddush Bekaspa. Is explaining that. Fine, so why is Tosfos bringing me the teretz? And what is the teretz of the Gemara? So Tosfos is telling you that the havamina is that the Rabbanon will not cause a avera with a kumva asay. And the teretz says, yes, the Rabbanon will cause an avera with a kumva asay, even if it comes to make the bia's nos directly, and there is no other way to explain it, they will still make their takanas that way. So in the havamina, they won't make it as an avera, but in the teretz they will. That is the havamina maskana, according to Tosfos. But here, Rashi has his whole arichus. Shemi ikarin lo have a kedushin, and if he's kaddish b'diav and you're oiker the kedushin lemafreya, what will be on his bia? But he's got since Rashi's talking to him, he's giving the whole ganza maisa of get kosher, and that mekanu laba. It's matter isur mekanu laba. So we're talking about the whole state of the marriage. Aval zeh she'eino get deraisa, and you're machsher because of the das of this on the kedushin and mivatlu pichachamim. You have to say meikara it wasn't kedushin. So meikara again, he's going back to the meikara it wasn't kedushin. And if he does kedish, so we're talking about the whole thing meikara. So why is he only talking about one bia? See, I've only have a question on Rashi. The Gemara is good, Tosfos is good. I have a question on Rashi here on this one bia, because the Gemara is talking about that one bia. I mean, you can ask this on Tosfos, that since Tosfos says with the yud bali yasoiv at the yud at the end there that it's multiple bias. Why does the Gemara not say bia? If you want to be medayik in the Gemara, the Gemara's only talking about one bia. Really should be talking about them all. But here you could say that they're only talking about that because they're only talking about the kiddush bia. So kedusha lemafreya ma'ateh al bia. So Rashi seems to be talking about the whole concept. Now Shavia Rabonim lebila soy lemafreya al yedei get shehu medivreihem. That's the Rabonim get. So it's a biasnos. V'yesh behen koch lasokein. So the Rabonim are able to do this. Sheharei shehu talabahem. Because his whole, when he made his kedushin, he put the das of the chachamim, not his das. Now Shemati kol rabasai. Wow, that's like a lot of people here. And mefarshim the kachibas bekasva the kedusha Rabonim inhu. That if you mefarsh kedusha now. The Rambam says something along these lines, that it's a, it doesn't say it's a Rabonim, he says some type of lotion of a Rabonim when you Kaddish Bekaspa. But the Mefarshi Rambam say that if the Torah says something beferish, like dwell in a sukkah, so therefore sukkah is deraisa and Shabbos is deraisa, but anything that the Rabbanon derive from a drasha. So here we have kesef is kicha mitzadei afron, therefore it's a drasha that the Rabbanon have, since it comes from a drasha, and the Torah doesn't say beferish, but it's a drasha's chachamim. That's why the Rambam uses this lashon of the Rabbanon or whatever. But Rashi saying the kol rabbasayim refarshin that it's that kiddush bekesfah is kiddush Rabbanon. V'ef shalom merkein chada de gezer shava he kicha mitzadei afron. Again, you can explain his Rabbon as I was explaining that, like the Rambam. Obviously, the Rambam was after, but Rashi saying Gezer Shava is Deraisa. But kol halamid meGezer Shava kamosha kasem afurishu. So again, Rashi would disagree with the lashon of the Rambam, saying that since it's a drasha, therefore it's like a chachamim din, even though it's Deraisa. He says it's like a kasem afurish. Since it's kasem afurish, it's like it's in the Torah afurish. The kol davar. V'od either Rabbanon inhu heich sokinan al yado mavin cholin la'azara al shagasasan. So that if a woman you have a guy and he there's twin sisters and he's v'shoigeg with her the twin sisters are married, one to him and one to someone else, and he accidentally whatever with the twin, or that she accidentally with her husband. So there's shoygeg, you bring, and if it's not b'shoygeg, so then you kill her. And how are you killing her? It was just kedushin bekesef, and if there's no kedushin, so then there's no nesuin. So you give kesef, so therefore it has to be the rice, otherwise you wouldn't kill them. The sof kika machine and shavi rabbanon be biznos, and this is the sof teretz. You have to say to explain like I explained that the kedushin were ripped up mi karan. So there you are, mi kara, the kedushin's gone. V'lo mikan ula haba. There you go. Rashi beforish v'lo mikan ula haba. But then we got the kashas from before. Firstly, why is he saying v'lo mikan ula haba? Did he ever say that before? And why is it get that's now happening? What do I need the get for? And again, we have the two lashonis. What do I need hefker based in hefker for? Which Rashi says tinach bekasva hefker based in hefker. We have das to Rabonim. What do I need the two of them for? Afeka'inהו Rabonim lekadoshin mine. What do I need these things for? It's al das. Everything here, Rashi is saying in the bia. Yeah, I don't need this hefker based in hefker stuff. So why don't I just say the same thing with kaspa? V'hamafarish loimer shavi Rabonim lachol mekadesh b'bia b'desnos tolos gomarhu. So that the pirush, the mefarshim, ubalahatir eishasish. So anybody who is Mekadesh b'bia, that's a biasnos. That's a tos gamar who. Come again. There's a biasnos. You're allowed to Mekadesh b'kesef star ubabia, and the Gemara says that a bia is also the Rabbanon. So the Pirush will say that therefore, since you're Mekadesh b'bia, so therefore it's now the reason why kiddush b'bia is mutter deraisa. And also the Rabbanim, because when God gave the Torah as a Shavuos for it, that he came and again he's ma'anis the Jews, he raped the Jews. So this is a kiddush b'bia. Since it's the kiddush b'bia, it works. And then the Matan Torah is like the he held the har gigas. It's like the chuppah, so that you have the bia, but afterwards it's not the nasa of an ishma, it's the nishma of a nasa. It's the rusa de la. It starts off with the rusa de la ela. that the kedushin, but afterwards it has to be, now you've had the rusa, you have to start off with the rusa dilatata, so therefore the kedushin babia is also the Rabonim. So he's just saying there's a pirush. He says anyone who does it, it's that's called to be as nothing, it won't work. Tos gomer hu uba lahatir reishasish Mekadesh babia. So therefore he wants to say that someone who's Mekadesh babia is mutter because it was never kedushin in the first place. Below get. Min hatoyem hazev velo matzinu zos be'talmud. They said this is a big mistake and we don't see this anywhere. So clearly, like at the time of Rashi, probably had people who were Kaddish Babia and they were trying to be matter ragunas or matter these type of things, and Rashi's speaking out against it. So there's the Rashi, there's the Tosfos, there's the Sugya. Still have some kind of kashas on what's going on. Okay, so the Rashba, Kum Mekadesh Daat the Rabonim Mekadesh. You have Kinu Rabonim Kedushin Mineh. V'yim Teina Mai Shana Mi Tava b'mayim she'ein lehem sof. The law of Kinu Rabbanan lekadushay mishum igunus. So there's a Mishnah in Gittin. It says that there's a mayim, and the guy falls into the mayim, and he doesn't come up. And that we're machmir, and we say that he didn't die, and that there's no get. So he calls the gunus because the guy died, but because you don't have edim. Maybe Rebbe Meir says even if it's a pool or whatever, because if it's ein lehem sof, so therefore maybe he floated out to sea, got on a ship, or no one can see him. But if it's like a pond or whatever, a pool, so then he didn't what's the chashash? Because you saw him not get out, and he was like 10 minutes, and he's definitely dead. You still don't matter him, according to Rebbe Meir. So why don't we just say, and again this is going to be the case, if we can just basically be matter all lagunas from this idea of Kum Mekadesh Daat the Rabonim Mekadesh, and then you flip you just pucker every kedushin. We'll never have a laguna ever again. And that's the kash of the Rashba. Now this Rashba is famous for in the circles. Obviously, a lot of women who learn Gemara or whatever are ma'ayin in this point of lagunas. Because that's close to them or whatever. So this Rashba is famous in this, and he says, and this is one of the reasons why we don't do it. You see, it comes out very nicely in the Rashba. But yesh leimar the G'dei lo makvi lahu Rabbanan le kedushay. But G'dei just means for no reason, for nothing. We're nothing. We don't just pocket the kedushin. Ele hechadika sarch gita kadahacha. So we also have inami be'erechot. But here, tzarech get. Tzarech get is like the cross. Like you gotta have some type of get there. You gotta have something now, some get. Once there's some type of get, then the Rabbanan can mevatel the kedushin. But when there's no type of get, so therefore it's not going to work. So then, according to this Rashba, so then when it comes to agunas, again, you'll need, if you want to get a get, when it comes to agunas, you're going to need the guy who's getting divorced, you're going to need him to want to help out the woman. And what if he wants to help out the woman, so we'll just give her a get anyway. When the guy is trying to screw over the woman, so then there's no get coming, and therefore you can't be mevatel the get without it. So, as a point in the Rashba, which will come up again, but you need tzarech get. You need some type of get. You're not going to have any bittel kedushin without a get. Moving over into the Ritva. The Ritva brings that they ask a kasha through all this. Yesh makshim she'im kain nimsa yochol lechafos abas achulso. So therefore, we can generate this whole idea and then just mevatel the get, as we've seen before. Guy married his niece, and his niece was mizana tachtav, and he didn't want his niece to die, so therefore he's making up the zman. He didn't put his zman in the kedushin, in the get. So now, if this happens, he can just create a get limafreya and bittel the get limafreya. Shiten lo get be'inyan sham shom oines v'lifko kedusha limafreya. And then you can have the so therefore anybody can mevatel that they can just have bias the whole time. So if you want to have some type of case where you can be matir v'yecholim and mamzerim litaher, and you can get rid of mamzerim, because if the woman has been playing away, so then just mevatel the kedushin lemafreya. The tiritz Ramban to lo kasha shem yechapa al basichatov yitzleinu kedin tavo lav bracha. Look at this. Ramban says this is wonderful. This is what the Rambam's teretz. Yeah, tavol av bracha. Umamzerim nami halavai shitaru. So the Ramban holds to this whole thing. Now again, this isn't going to help with agunas, because with agunas you're going to need. We've got 4 cases of the Rabonim getting rid of the kedushin. 2 of them happen at the point in time where the kedushin happens, like there was never kedushin ever. In these 2 cases, this is one of the cases. You have kedushin, and then later they bottled it lemafrei. So we can only look at these 2 cases. Our case currently is that you have an oinus. You can't plan an oinus, because if you plan an oinus, so then it's not an oinus. And if you miss the bus, so then you should have been made the tanai anyway. So you can't plan an oinus. But there's a second case of where you mevatel mafreya, and that's where you send a shaliach a get with the get, and then you mevatel the shlichas, and then the guy comes with the get to the woman, and then it's not a good get, but the Rabbanim made it a good get. They mevatel the kedushin the mafreya. In that case, it's in gittin. So therefore, you can set that up quite easily. That you make it if you want to. Again, this is only if you want to mitaher mamzerim, or you want to michapa on your niece. That you don't want the wife to die because she was playing away, or you don't want the wife's children to be mamzerim. So then you send her a get with a shaliach, and then you mevatel the get in a beis din. Then the Rabbanan are bottle the mafreya, and the Ramban says tavo alav bracha. This is wonderful. Now, the Pnei Yeshua, he has we have the Shita. So the Shita, Vaeit Dmtrtzī Dikia Amrin Afka'inהו Rabonim Lakadushin Minei Lav Mashma Kedushin Lav Mishas Kedushin. It's not the time of Kedushin. Eila Hashta Mishas Maisa. It's only now at the time of the Maisa. So now when you get the get, Me'asa v'kol zman shelo nasa ha'maisa shelo kibel haget ba'oines ki hagavna chayiv b'chenek, so that you're chayiv. So the shita will say it's this shita which he brings the dmtrtzī, whoever this is that it's mekanu laba. Therefore, you can't have the whole din of the Ramban and the Ritva that it's since it's lemafreya. Therefore, you get rid of all these issues. According to this dmtrtzī, you just can't have that, because that whole din doesn't exist. Because even if you do the get and they Mekadesh and they mevatel the kedushin, it's only mekanu laba. So again, now technically it doesn't make any sense. How can you just have it technically coming from now? The Pnei Yeshua, the Gemara, they get rid of the kedushin, and they make the biaznos. Kavar already wrote in this in kedushin that just like a zar is nechshav to make the Rabbanon and the Rabbin as so he's made the Baal like a zar, and it's biaznos when it happens in oinus because he didn't have any he didn't do any pesha. So it's been Daat to call him to gabel acher kach kedushin the makravia Baal the kaven the afeka'inהו Rabonim kedushin tafsi be kedushin. So the Pnei Yeshua is asking like this, that the guy didn't do anything wrong. He had an oinus. He had an oinus and he got sick, and then he said, I came, and the Rabbanon just mevatel the kedushin, but he didn't do anything wrong, and now all his beers are biaznos. What did he do wrong? Yeah, he had an oinus, and also we have the case that if it's lemafreya, so the guy got married in the year 2000. In the year 2010, she makabeled kedushin from somebody else, but that wasn't a good kedushin because he remarried. And then in the year 2020, he divorced her. He sent her the get with an oinus, and after they mevatel the kedushin back from to the year 2000. Therefore, kicks in the kedushin she makabeled in 2010, and now he's chayiv misa because he had bia with her in the 10 years afterwards. Get that case?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what the hell's going on here? We never see this anywhere. No one's ever brought up this case. So why are you telling me? So it doesn't make any sense that it goes back to Lemafrey and we get rid of all the kedushin. These cases, the the Pandora's box that's opened up, that actually she was never a Mekadesh then. And all that time, all those things that she was doing. So again, your wife can makabel kedushin 20, 50 times. Doesn't matter, it doesn't chal. But once you start getting rid of some of them, then all these are chalin, and then all of a sudden people are also there. It's like an absolute Pandora's box mess. So it's all that you megarish on the data of the Rabonim. Without that, it won't help the tinus oinus. So that when you make the he's kind of explaining how it can be mekan ula haba, because when you make the get, it's the get al das chachamim. Since it's the get al das chachamim, therefore it's like a get chaus even with an oinus, because the chachamim added that to the get. Im so therefore you don't need to be pocket the kedushin, that the get will chal al das rabbanon. Im yarer adayin vayamer shalok yirish adayt the rabbanon. So the guy's going to say, I never did that. When I give the get, it was lo al das rabbanon. So therefore we only need this din of the Gemara only where the Baal is ma'arer, and he says, I was not al das rabbanon. Shalok yirish al das rabbanon. Ela adayt the nafshe, I did it myself, and I want to mevatel the get because of the oinus. So now we got a problem. Bezeh hefkiu hakadushin v'shavinu biznus. In that case, that's the only case in which they do it. So the Gemara is only talking about that specific case. Kevin sha'avar al tekanas chachamim. So since the chachamim did the takana of giving the get al das the rabbanon, he didn't do that. V'lo kiresh al dat, and therefore he's like punished for that. So since they made that takana, that if you don't megarish or nartanai, we're going to punish you and make all your biznus mistama lo yirarer. So now we'll never have the order. So therefore you don't even have this guy anymore. Right? Lo yirarer. So ele she'im yorer. If he makes an error, then we're going to make his biznus. So therefore he won't orer. So therefore there is no im yorer, because he'll get punished if he gets an orer and have his biznus. So therefore the whole thing doesn't really exist according to that you're Mekadesh al das, that you're Megaresh al das Rabonim. Therefore the Rabonim have can get rid of all these oinuses, and I don't care about your das, and therefore it's Mekanu laba. And what's the Gemara talking about then? Gemara's talking about an orer. And therefore the teretz of the Gemara is that we're going to make your biaznos. So if we make your biaznos, you're not going to orer. Therefore there is no orer, and therefore everybody is Mekadesh al das Rabbanon. Now, I want to have a look at the this is the Mincha Shlomo. The Mincha Shlomo is Shlomo Auerbach. L'chayra gam lefakvek al eitzto shel ha-marsham mashakot but Ketuvot is the Bris Avraham. So the Bris Avraham is the Iker who comes up with this idea. The Keva and the Iker Hatam Shetzrichem lehavkia hakadushin hu rak misham de mi ikamidi de midaraisa arusa over the Ram Sharu Hasish le alma. So the whole point that we're mafkia the kedushin is only for this point. That the Gemara asks is something the Raisa that the Asur and Mirav Sharu. Mistaver de lo efku Rabbanon legamri hakadushin, so that the Rabbanon were not mafkia legamri the kedushin, because we only have one little problem, that the Raisa, it's just a deraisa issue we have to get out of. Achashuva mamish kepenuya gamura, that we're going to think that she's a penuya gamura mamish, like the penuya Yeshua was ma'orer, that you be his nus, and then all of a sudden you get the Pandora's box of kedushin. Rak, what did they do? Havkiyu esa ishus deraisa. All they did was havkiyu the ishus deraisa. So what's left? When you have get rid of the ishus deraisa, v'heshiru oisa akol panim kam Mekadesh rak midarabanan. And therefore you have what's left is the Rabbanan kedushin the whole time. Ki mehechatesi ekvun chachamim legamri kedushin and lo tzorech. What the hell are the Rabbanan doing? Just pocket the kedushin legamri. like the Ramban and the Ritva are saying, yeah, that's what they're doing, and there's no mamzerim anymore. Etzlo kol yamav be'isr, and that the whole time biaznus, the whole thing is just a biaznus. Every time he has bia toiv in the plural. Kaven de lo hetzrucho. They don't need this tachbulazu. They don't need to have this tachbula. Tachbula is these crafty ways of what's going on. Rach machmas hahechrach shalol la'oker davar min ha'Torah. It's just they're forced that they can't. They're not going to be oker davar min ha'Torah. Which going to the Gemara. Which Gemara's whole question: how do we get into the sugya? The kaven shekain. Since that's true, mistaver de hafkiu rakis at the raisa v'ashir al koponim kedushav de Rabonim. So therefore, this is the din which you're going to say. This is how Shlomo Auerbach explains the Rashi, that we're hafkia rak the deraisa, and therefore we're keeping the Rabbanins. Therefore, if we go back into the Gemara here, we have some nice harvacha that afpaka miyikara, that's going on the kedushin deraisa, but you're left. Every bia is not a bia's nus. Why is it not a bia's nus? Because the Rabbanin are Mekayim, your kedushin. And when does the Rabbanin paka the kedushin? The Rabbanin kedushin, mikanu laba. It's only the deraisa that's limafreya. And therefore we're actually having two things that are going on here. Kol Mekadesh atai to the Rabbanin Mekadesh. So that's going on the kedushin. When I gave the kedushin on T0 in the year 2000, I gave the kedushin. That's all on the deraisa. So the deraisa, the Rabbanan get rid of it. Hefker based in hefker. V'afka'inהו Rabbanan lekadushin minei. But today, when you get the gas, then the afka'inהו Rabbanan lekadushin minei. So therefore, Keshavia get kazeh achareihem, when they get the get afka'inhu Rabbanan kedushin, look at that. It's the afka'inhu Rabbanan kedushin. It's the second stage. The Rashi saying that mekanu laba, when you get the get, what's the afka'inhu Rabbanan kedushin? Kashriyabah get kazeh. When this get comes, then you get rid of the Rabbanan kedushin. So you don't have any biaznus. But we have a problem then. You have a problem on the first bia. So mati al biyasov, because tinach kesef is good because the kesef gets rid of the deraisa, and that deraisa then the whole kedushin is only kedushin to Rabbanan, and then all the biyas are the biyas to Rabbanan. Mati al biyasoi, this bia of that he's doing at the time, it's only this one bia that we have the question on a biyas nus. Because every other bia is already, we stay in the kedushin, we stay in the bia kedushin. But Tosis, who learns that it's umafrei legamri, therefore it's eliyasov. But according to, this is a beautiful reading in the Rashi now because this is really a kasha on everyone else. How do you learn the Gemara? Kol Mekadesh atai to the Rabbanim Mekadesh. That's the hefker based in hefker. So what do I need this? Ve'afka'inhu Rabbanan lekadushin minei. So again, the hefker based in hefker goes limafreya. It goes back in time, and there the hefker based in hefker is that not kedushin, that kesef kedushin kicks off the deraisa. There was never a deraisa kedushin, and everything from here is a kedushin rabban, and therefore the bias are not bias enough. She can't makabel kedushin from other people. The rabban are paka those kedushins as well. And now when you get the get, then it's paka the rabbinical kedushin as well. So therefore, this is a good explanation of the Rashba. We said in the Rashba that you need a tzarech get, that you can only be mevatel the kedushin with the tzarech get, so that the get gets rid of kicks in the two things that when you get the get now, I kick off the raisa lemafreya, and then I destroy the rabbanon now. But without the get, I've got no ability to do that because we're not just removing, like the Panei Yeshu was claiming that we're not just removing all these dinim, and that it's just we're just getting off the rabbinical kedushin. Mikanu laba. The lemafreya is the raisa.